So good morning. Good to see you all here. Good to see some of you I haven't seen before. So gratitude. Last week, Laura mentioned that this week was going to be pretty much about gratitude, and I said, that's I have lots of stuff on gratitude, so I'll be able to do that quite. That's right, my wheelhouse. And then last week happened. I'm not a minister with a Pollyanna message. Living life as it's handed to you can be not an easy thing sometimes. Most of us are not awake or enlightened, so to speak, as it's said. Most of us are trying to make it day to day with the best amount of blessing that we can get, with some semblance of happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment derived from life itself, derived from how we're living, from what we're living, from our life. Doing life can be difficult. Being life can be even harder. The good news is that there is light in the mist, or light in the midst of everything. Anyone who's driven in fog, well, I know we've all driven in fog. That's a big guess, but I'm guessing we have all driven in fog. Know that in the fog, the mist of the fog diffuses the light. Diffuses the light, so it spreads it out. You're not really able to focus on the light that is there. The mist being the experience of life. That's the mist that we're going through in our day-to-day existence, or it can be very light diffusing. In the midst of what we can experience as the fog of life happening to you, through you, around you, it can be difficult to discern that Christ light, because there is so much all around you, so much about you, so much in your life. But even though there is so much, you can see it. Just like when you're driving in the fog and there's someone coming at you, you may not be able to focus or see it, but you know it's there. You can see the light, a little bit of that light. And that's what it is with gratitude. In the midst of living life as it's handed to you, it's okay to feel the burdens. It's okay to feel whatever is going on. That's not a bad thing. And if you sit for a moment, you'll be able to know the truth that sets you free. You'll be able to see and experience a little bit of that light. Now, you may not want to go into the light, as they say, right away. And that's okay. You need time to process what's going on with you, for you, in you. But it's also important to remember you don't get lost in the process. Let the process take you over so that life becomes not good at all. So that life becomes less than it is, which is your opportunity to grow, your opportunity to be more than you were a while back, yesterday, a couple hours ago, a few minutes ago. In gratitude, even in the smallest itty bitty little bitty piece of gratitude. That's always there. In gratitude, there is hope. Hope is a precursor to faith, and faith will change your world. Jesus tells us in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid." Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let your hearts be afraid. Now, I've thumped on this drum before, and I will thump on it again. There are times in life when there's going to be trouble. Your hearts are going to be troubled. Life isn't always, a panacea of love, light, happiness, and flowers and good stuff. Life is life. You are going to feel troubled at times. You are going to feel afraid at times. And neither one of them are bad, because that's what life is. It brings you things, and you deal with them, whether you created them or not. We're always talking about ourselves being co-creators with Spirit, and this is true. But sometimes we don't create what it is that we're dealing with. It's just, here you go, buddy. Boom. Take this, see what you can do with it. And you kind of, But with your faith and the truth of your being, you deal with it. Hence the words, do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not let yourself be afraid. Letting is allowing. When things come at you, you're not allowing it. There it is. There it is. But by not dealing with it, or by just letting it be your total experience, you are letting it control your life. You are letting it be a presence that is guiding you in what you do, think, and say, and how you are. So do not let these things have power over you. These are things, but they don't have to have power over you. Because as a Christed being, you have power over it. Power to move through it, power to see through it, power to experience through it, power to become greater through it. Charles Fillmore in Mysteries of John tells us, you make your connection with the universal vital energy of being, and you fill your whole consciousness with vitality. I'll say that again. You make connection with the universal vital energy of being, and you fill your whole consciousness with vitality. And that's what we're doing. When we're moving from that little bitty spark of gratitude and letting that work and work and work and work to clear the fog. It clears the fog. And as we allow it to work, we are filled with a greater vitality, because that gratitude is love. Gratitude is love. It's a conscious expression of love. The love of God. The love of the blessings that we have. The love that is the truth of being. And as we connect with that and allow it to grow, we are able to open up to what it is that life is handing us, what it is, the experience of life that is moving through whatever it is we're going through, that little spark of gratitude is that spark of love which will empower you into greater things. In Luke 12, verses 6 through 7, and Luke is a pretty good chapter. Luke 12 is a pretty good chapter. It has all kinds of good stuff in it. But this is one of the good stuffs that he has. It says, are not five sparrows sold for 2 pennies? Yet not one of them is forgotten in God's sight. But even the hairs on your head are numbered. Do not be afraid. You are of more value than many sparrows. Spirit knows the numbers of hairs on your head, even if you don't have that many. That's how well Spirit knows you, for you are of Spirit. So, as we turn ourselves over to that, letting go and letting God, we can move forward in gratitude, through gratitude, and by gratitude. Spirit works according to a higher law. And the primary obstacle to the outpicturing of that law often is in your life. It often is your life. And your awareness of the presence of Spirit and the depth of your belief in your separation from it. That's something to consider once in a while. How deep is your belief in separation between you and Spirit? We all have it. Even if it's just a skosh, just a little bit. It's all there. And that's what brings us into our fear. That's what brings us away from the potential and possibility that is ours, our belief in separation from Spirit. Emily Cady, first page, first paragraph. All suffering stems from the belief in separation of Spirit. So sometimes these things can give us an opportunity to take a look at that and to empower us to embrace who we are right now. Because who you are right now is the foundation of who you are going to be. Who you are right now is great. And who you are going to be is greater. It happens every day. It happens every minute. As you let the peace of Christ, the truth of your being, rule from the depth of your being, rule, and as you have put Spirit in charge of whatever you have going on, the idea of separation begins to diminish. Because when you're in one of these times, you feel separated. But as you go to that light of gratitude, that light of love, it begins to diminish because you're making connection. You're making connection with the truth of your being. You're making connection with the truth of all things. And the things begin to work themselves out. Work themselves out without you having to do too very much. Have you noticed that? Things work out. That's another thing of life. Things work out because God's in charge. Spirit is doing Spirit's thing. That's how things work out. Obstacles to your good are removed. They just become another piece placed in the puzzle of your ongoing creation that is your life. And in the process, that little piece of gratitude, which is the love, has cleared the way, has cleared out the fog, so to speak. You've all been driving through fog and you had it cleared away, and boom, there's the light. Once the fog has cleared, everything becomes more visible. Everything in your life becomes more visible. The blessings of your life become more visible. The good that you have becomes more visible. The good that you are becomes more visible. The good that's to come becomes more visible. So this week, friends, as you go about your activities, keep the thought of gratitude close at hand, because you may need it. As you keep that cross of the thought of gratitude at your hand, know that you can take a God break anytime. If you're feeling burdened or stressed, or just that life is not as it should be, or not as I would want it to be, you can take a short God break, because God is always there. You can lay it all down. Lay down your concepts of what you think needs to happen. Lay down your opinions of what is happening. Set them aside for a moment and remember a few of the blessings that you have. Remember that you don't have to do anything but to be and to know the truth of your being. Know that love. Say a little prayer. Say, thank you, God, for being with me now. I am open and grateful for your presence that is waiting for me. Take a nice breath. Get up, suit up, get on with it. Do your best and let Spirit do the rest. God blesses you.